And so it is. Welcome to Vue Q A. John is up first. John, you can't get a potentially nested object-y kind of thing to update. So why don't you screen share and let's take a look at what you got going on.
Boom. Oh, I got Hulk colors going on. I didn't realize that was the combo right now. Let me get Doom typer pulled up. Boom. Great.
Cool. Let's take a look at your code.
Yeah. So my code, so the way that it works is in my app.
Full screen your code.
Full screen code. Yeah. So when I go to my where is it? Game choices. Emitting an event. There we go. This dot emit event, okay, where I shoot out the game object.
What's the game object?
The game object is basically it's pulling from my backend. Looks like it's just an array of objects where each object is a game, and a game contains data. It has like a name for that game. So for example, like maybe like right now it's just Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, but that's just for like development purposes. Eventually it would be like, okay, here's the Doom topic. Here's like a topic about puppies. So you're doing like, you're typing stuff about puppies, whatever. And each of those objects contains a name, an ID, and a set of words that you are sampling from.
Okay, so stop. We got some linting issues here. So in your handle click, you're using single quotes there, double quotes.
Really?
Yes. All attributes, always double quotes. Same thing with ID, up in the one above it. It's on your nav.
Yeah.
Attention to detail. All right. So let's see if there's anything else hinky going on. Oops, stop. Back up. Back up. All right, stop. Okay. All right, and then down in handle click, event, game object, select game object. Okay, show me the component that's consuming this.
So now the app, when you say consuming, you mean that's getting the event that's bubbling up?
That owns the component.
App.
Okay, show me your template.
Yep.
Okay, so that's game choices.
Yep.
Okay, let me see the select game method.
The select game method?
Yep. All right, so you're destructuring out name, ID, and words. You're this.game props. Okay, now show me your state. Okay. Get a space after the N in return.
Nope. Oh, put a space there?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so this method returns an object that has renders, game props, and games. Okay.
Just for the initial fetch to get all of those games in one spot.
Okay. Also, linting issues here. Put spaces after those colons.
Spaces after those colons. Bam, bam. Oh, I guess I could just do that.
Okay.
I know it's not as cool as Vim, but
Nothing is. Okay, so go down to your that method handler. Yeah, your select game.
okay.
All right, and I want to. Vue doesn't have a super good like way to do this, so above all of that, I want you to log. And then this is going to seem weird. Humor me on this. JSON dot parse, and the JSON is in capital letters.
Yeah.
And then open that up, and then inside of it, do JSON dot string. Nope. JSON dot stringify, capital letters again.
Whoops.
And then open that up. And I want to see this dot game props. Cool. Now copy and paste that line after you do that assignment also.
All the way to down here.
Sure. So what this is doing is this is making a copy, a deep copy of what game props is before and after. Because when you look at it, if you just console log this dot game props, when you look at it, that's when it gets calculated. That's not what you want. So this gives you like an immutable version of that object.
You're saying this is immutable, this is immutable.
Yeah, those refer to completely different things. That stringify and parse essentially clones the object.
Okay. So you're ensuring that I'm getting this dot game props exactly as it is at this moment.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Okay. It is not mutated or anything like that by something else.
Now, do you want me to check that out real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and run that. Okay.
So it changed from Doom 1 to Doom 4, so it looks like that's working.
Cool. Why did you think it wasn't working?
Well, I'm saying it's not that's not working. I can show you the exact part that's not working, but let me get rid of those console logs first, if you're okay with that. So the part that's not working is this. Let's say I'm going to Vue. Over there, my Vue DevTools, I'm in app, right? If I look at these props, the things that I want to change here are changing. Boom, boom, no issues. But then I pass those into game, and let me show you why that's alerting. So inside of my computes for these, I put alerts just to trigger them when they're firing off. And you could see as I was changing these, it wasn't firing off inside of game.
Stop. Show me the behavior in your app that isn't working the way you think it should.
There's nothing in my app that's not working the way it should, the way that I think it should.
Oh, well, then there you go. Yeah, your alert doesn't go off. It does lazy computation on all of this. It doesn't compute it until it needs to.
Oh. Okay. So, in other words, I'm not going to run into, so it sounds like I'm just making an issue out of something that's not an issue.
That is precisely what's happening.
Shit. Okay, because that's all that I was saying is that I think it's weird that when I go back to game, it's not like, I guess in my head, it seemed like if the whole point of what computed does is, okay, like as my app changes, the props going into my game change. I would think that if the props go into my game change, then it should have to recompute that value. But I
Only if
guess
you're
what I'm
looking
saying
at that value or using it somewhere. If you're not using it or displaying it or something, why?
it doesn't even compute it.
Yeah.
Well, fuck me. That's smart that they made it that way.
Yeah, way more efficient.
And it's dumb. I didn't know that. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So what you're saying is if I render something here,
Yeah.
like let's say I do a and this is exactly what I'd want to do for my, my test word undefined. Is that right? Let's make sure I'm putting them in the right place. Yeah. So for my test word undefined, I would do something like here, span, get rid of all these, span, Ahmed straightened me out with my indentations.
Good.
Yeah, and I got this plugin that looks like a rainbow. So anyways, I go to here would be, let's see if I do this right. V4, and then I would write, it's V4 equals. And then I say, I need it for my test words. So I could say something like words in test words.
Nope, word in test words.
Test word would probably be better. Yeah. Does it actually have a pluralizer in there?
No, but your brain does.
Right. And then my key would be something like, key would be
equals, not colon. There you go.
Equals, and this maybe is something I also need to straightening out with. I can't just write key equals test word, right? Because,
correct.
And does there have to be a colon here?
Yes. You want, what is a thing that uniquely identifies one test word from another test word?
Test word.id.
There
But
you
I don't have an ID on each word.
Uh-oh, you should fix that.
In my database?
Yeah, probably.
Also,
if the words are all unique, it could be the words, but it's almost always better to use an ID. Like 99% of the time you're using an ID.
Okay. That makes sense. For now, I guess I should do it the shitty way because that's going to break if I type in ID, right? And there's no ID.
Correct.
But,
no, don't do it with the index. Just do it with the word. Your words are unique?
No, they're not unique, actually, because because test word. If you think about what the test word is a series of randomly selected things. So let's say I have 20 total words. I got to make 300 words out of those 20 words.
All right, let's like fix this for real. Don't use indexes. Where are you pulling this in? This is going over to app.
This is, well, those words are coming in, yeah, from my app. I get the words from a JSON file stored in my database.
Okay, cool.
And then
that's this JSON parse you're doing right there?
Yes.
Okay,
and
cool.
Whoops. What? Uh-oh. We're in a loop. I need to get rid of that alert real quick because that's gonna
hang on. Get rid of your alert. All right.
I can't put my step back. Oops. So you want me to go to the app?
Yeah. So yeah, where you're like parsing these words here. So take your words after line 103 and let's add an ID.
Gotcha. But then, wait, if I do it here in the part that contains all of the words, but not necessarily all of the words that are going into my game, it just contains all the words that I could choose from. If I do it here and then I populate from that, then I'm going to get repeating IDs. So should I make those IDs inside of the game when I'm creating those words?
Okay, what's your, like, where do these come in?
So the goal is I go into my game, and in my game, I use that computed property like you told me to get all my words.
Okay, but
so,
no, show me the line of code where the words come from.
Show you the line of code where the words come from.
Where's the fetch or you said it's coming from a JSON file?
Yeah, so that's coming from my back end right there.
Okay, cool. So it's that games?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
so each
add another.
Well, those words are not, so I'm sorry, let me clarify. Games is not a list of words. Games is a list of
I want
objects.
the list of words. Show me the list of words.
Yeah, so then I go to populate games, and then in populate games, I'm saying for each game, push the games, cool, so now I have all my games. And then when I select a game, I just basically say, I'm not actually selecting it from my array of games, but I get my ID here. And then I do this extract words function, which, how do I do this here? Oh, wait, yeah.
Where do those words come from?
Right, so these words are coming from, I am sending props down to my game choices. And in my game choices, I have these like objects. I just basically am sending those objects of games. And then I'm emitting that object back to app from there. So when I activate that event, when I click on like a topic like here, when I click on a topic, that topic corresponds with an object. And technically that object is coming from game choices being bubbled up into app, and then that's where that's coming from.
Okay, but the thing that we're looping over in the other component where all this started, the thing that needs the ID, it's just getting these words, right?
Right, it's just getting extract words. It's
okay, that's fine. So after words, after line 103,
yeah,
I want you to take words and actually, fuck, we can do this at the end of line 105. Get rid of that line.
Okay.
Just do words dot, nope, at the end of that line, words dot map. It's going to take in word, and then you're going to return. Nope. Spread word, comma, ID. Cool. Now above this, like after line 103.
There's a linting error because ID is not defined.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, words.id.
No. ID. Okay.
Oh, you're saying
make an ID. Do let ID equals 0.
Except I see what you're getting at here, and then here I would do something like
fix your syntax. After the equal sign, give a space.
Yeah.
And then before you return that, ID plus plus.
Right. My only thing is that if I do this, like I was thinking I would do this part populates the words as in like, let's say I have 3 words, apple, cheese, and pear.
Yeah.
Then that means I'm going to get the same IDs over and over and over again for my for loop.
No,
in other words.
Nope. It's going to, well, I see what you're saying. What's the thing that we're looping over?
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, sorry about that. So let me undo what we just did, because I think that it's going to be the exact same thing. It just goes into, because I see exactly what you're saying, and I know how to do that. That's what I wound up doing for my last one too. Oh, I don't know what I just undid. Okay, well, it's just that. Make sure it's working. And then I didn't fuck anything up. Oh, I did fuck something up. Um, oh God, how do you undo stuff so cleanly when you do it? I guess that's Vim magic, isn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, it's just one key that helps.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yep. Hey, what's up, Toby?
What is up? Sorry, I was on the phone with my dad, but I had Vue questions.
Cool. All right. When we get through John's thing, I can't wait to hear them.
I broke my server. As I
All right.
always.
So stop. Slow down. Slow down. Read the error.
Well, there was no error because it shut down. I think it might be good now. Yep. Okay. So if I go to my game choices, this is where in my computed properties is where I am getting, that is the array that I'm working with.
Okay, stop. Show me the thing that we're looping over.
The computed property of which I clearly passed. Create test words. So right here. So now,
show me in the loop what we're looping over.
I created an empty array called test.
No. Show me the V4. Show me the thing that we're looping over.
It is my test words.
Show me the V4. There. Okay, cool. This is what I'm looking for. Test word in test words. Show me test words.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
So right here, I want you to instead of.
Yeah, this was
put the map on that.
Okay, but this is also not what it's supposed to be. Like that's going to change. This is really supposed to be pulling out. Like I'm supposed to be. I wasn't really fully ready for this conversation yet because it might I bet you, why don't you talk to Toby for like 5 minutes so I can get it sorted out, because I know exactly what you're trying to tell me to do. Right. And it would probably be easier for me to give it a shot really quick and then. All right. Is that okay?
Yep. Toby, what's up?
Cool. Vue questions. First thing, I was just going to ask about using like modules for Vue Store.
Yeah, what about it?
How do you format them? I haven't found like a good way to like, I don't know, where you put them and how you export them and all that stuff.
Sure.
Like,
so modules are just mini stores. They have the exact same shape as a normal store. I think it makes most sense to kind of break them up by the same sort of thing that would be a model in Rails. Make that a store module. So like if you have dogs, owners, and users, then I would have a dogs, owners, and users module for the store.
Okay.
And those can nest on down too. So if like users has a whole bunch of like complicated stuff that you could split that into, those can have submodules as well.
Okay.
All of them to have the same getters, actions, mutators, like all that kind of shit.
And then do you import all the modules into like a main store? Or do you
only the one that's consuming them? So if you had dogs, owners, and users, you'd import those three into like your main store.
Index, yeah.
But if user had three other submodules, then those would only get imported into user.
Okay, yeah. And then like you would call, like in your code, you'd call like gets this dot store getters or like dogs dot getters or something.
So the syntax on that is actually kind of gross.
Yeah.
I think it's not intuitive, but it makes sense. So I'm gonna try to buy one of these today, by the way. Aren't you jealous? Okay, so what these end up looking like is, let's see if I can find a good one. So they end up looking like that. You say that I want to dispatch to the events modules, fetch events action. But it's one string that you have that slash in.
So it's kind of like a route almost.
A little bit, yeah. Now, so that's like dispatching an action. Reading state out of it is gnarlier. Like it's one of those things where I have to look up the syntax every time. Here it is. It's like that.
This
So,
does getters service loading.
and if that was state, then you just swap getters out for state.
Okay.
But the way you remember this is it's always going to be this $store.state or this $store.getters. That always is how it starts. If you're using modules, then you pass in, so like what comes back is an object there. So then in that object, you're looking up with bracket syntax that string. So that getters object has as one string all of the getters for the whole app, all of the modules.
Okay.
It's such a garbage API design. I hate it so much. But that's how it works.
Like I don't know why you wouldn't like do like this.store.modules.
Right,
whatever
exactly.
module.
Totally agree. That is not how they designed it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whatever. So other question, I was having a Vue problem with, I was initializing a state in my store.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had like questions and then initialized as an empty array. And then it would come back undefined. So I was doing a fetch to my back end.
Okay.
And setting state after that fetch.
Okay.
And then when I go like open up my like Vue app, it said like can't read index 0 of undefined, right? And then once I put something in that empty array, I just put like hi anything and said, okay, well now it's not undefined. And so it's kind of a weird, I don't know why.
Why were you getting index 0 of something? Why were you
getting an index? I was working back kind of, and so I was just trying to grab one thing, put it on the page, and then I was going to like expand it into a map. So I was just like saying, get this store state questions, the first instance of that question, like 0.
Cool. So when you're in your initial state's an empty array.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a 0 index.
Remember,
whatever your state it like initializes to, that counts as one of the states of your app. And so it's going to start trying to render that empty state. So if that's not legal, your app's going to break before it even bootstraps.
Okay, so like when you're on app when you're mounting, and then you have a fetch in your mount in your app,
right?
So that's where you're like initializing state. Should you like put something in state then?
Well, it's even before that. It's whatever you have in your store. If you're trying to access a 0 index, there always needs to be a 0 index in that. Always, always, always. So initialize that in the actual store code with 1 if you need to do that.
So what do you initialize it? You can initialize it with anything? Like you can just say 0?
Yeah, so if the point is you're hard coding it because you just want to see like what it looks like, then hard code that in the store so you always have legal states.
Yeah. So I had that, and then I was trying to abstract it and then assign it in my fetch, and then I'd have like nothing in state for that, and so it broke there. So like, do I
so what's going to happen is before your fetch finishes, you have an empty array.
Yeah.
And then after your fetch finishes, you have like the one hard-coded thing in there or whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is that empty one doesn't have a 0 index.
Right.
So it tries to render that before it even triggers your fetch.
Right. Exactly. So is there a way to get around that, or do you just like?
Yeah, hard code that into your.
So you always have to hard code something?
If that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to like hard code something so that it's in there and you're accessing that 0 index, otherwise, once you start pulling that out, don't access the index directly anymore. Just iterate through the state.
Okay. Okay. I also haven't figured out how I'm gonna deal with that, but I was gonna like pass in an index to a child component as prop.
Passing indexes around is usually a bad idea. Not always. There are some very good reasons to do that. but you probably don't want to pass around an index. You probably want to pass around the actual thing itself.
Okay.
That's my
So,
recommendation.
Right, and like have a state index kind of thing, like current index and state.
Oh yeah, if you want to like maintain that separately on your own, that's completely legit. I did that all the time on that calendar app I worked on in Health Scholars.
Okay.
But using the actual like arrays index, almost never what you really want to do.
Okay. Okay. I was kind of like headed that direction, but I don't know why it was doing that, and I guess.
Yeah, and for your empty array thing, as soon as you've extracted that thing out, now like rely on a map or some kind of iteration thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Cool. All right, Mr. Higger, how you doing?
Not too bad. I'm getting some small bug, and I'm not sure why, but I
All
think.
right, why don't you screen share and let's figure it out.
All right, sure. Oh, I can't screen share while others are screen sharing.
Because I'm screen sharing.
Come on, Kyle.
Come on, Kyle. All right, go for it.
Oh, all right, cool. Let's see. So yeah, so here where I'm creating my test words, let's see.
Put spaces around that equals.
Spaces around.
In your for loop.
I equals 1, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I still got to get a better eye for that kind of thing. So the concept here is that I want to pull out 300 random words from whatever my size sample is.
Perfect.
So I wrote this function called sample from a word array, and it just returns this. And yes, I just copied that from online, so I'm not 100% sure if that's where the error is coming from.
I was gonna say, you know that code exists already, right? And yep, so it does. You copied it.
Yeah, exactly. So I did that, and then what I did was in this for loop, I said, first I had created an empty array of test words, and I said for each like iteration, create a new object where this object has a word, a class, and an ID. The word is equaling that, the class equals that, and the ID is going to equal I. Does that sound like good logic so far?
Kind of, but I want to stop here. Both of you, like, this is fine code. This is how a lot of people would write it. Certainly how a Go programmer would write it. But it's time to go to the next level. It's time to write this like a pro. So we're going to pull in a library to clean this way the fuck up. This sounds like a case for Lodash.
Lodash.
So, John, I would like you to npm install Lodash.
Okay, do I need to close my server or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That, right?
You got it.
How do you know when to use Lodash? Just experience?
A little bit. I'd spend some time, spend like half a day reading through every single function from Lodash, and then try to categorize them yourself in like a way that makes sense to you. All that's going to happen is you're going to get a better idea of what Lodash does, and so you'll see things like this.
Okay. I'm assuming I got to run npm audit fix now.
I don't think you have to.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you can if you want.
Okay, I won't if you guys.
Okay, so now at the top of this component, we're going to import, let's just start with range and sample. So to import range in curly braces.
Oh, right, I got you.
It's kind of like destructuring. They're named exports. And lowercase r, lowercase s.
I totally knew that. Just kidding. Ranges and sample.
From Lodash. Just like that. Now, pad the white space in those curly braces.
Okay, and then something else is giving me some kind of linting error. It's just
we're not using them yet.
Yeah.
All right, so
So I guess here I can get rid of this. Is what it's looking like we're about to do.
Yes, correct.
That's great. I should start using Lodash.
In fact, if you just drop this dot from that, it does the same thing.
And it's like this. It's not like GameWords.sample invoked.
No.
Okay.
It's a standalone function. Okay, so what John's doing here is doing a very imperative loop. You're saying like, I want you to do this in this way 300 times.
Right.
So here's how you would do this functionally with Lodash. John, why don't you pull up the Lodash docs for range?
Pull up what?
The Lodash docs for range.
Lodash range. Would be here.
Yeah, just go to the website. They've got a little search tool on there. Nope, not the NPM one.
Range.
Oh, that's nice.
Then just look up range on the. Go to the top. Go to the top. Go to the top. Go to the top.
Oh,
Look up range.
well, caps lock is gonna make you look dumb, but okay.
All right, that util, yeah. All right, so what this is gonna do is just create an array of numbers, as many as you want. And so we really only care about the end. Let's see. So it starts at 0. So we're gonna do range 300.
Okay.
And so what this does is it gives us an array with 300 elements in it.
Okay, and then what happens with I there?
What do you mean?
What I?
No, I'm just curious. Like, what would I use to index? I guess should I just delete all this?
No, leave that in there, but we're not going to use a for loop. For loops are imperative. For loops are bad. Anytime we can not use a for loop, we should. So
we're going to array with a range of 0 to 100 or 300.
Exactly. No, John, stop. Don't delete anything. Just keep it there.
Okay.
We're going to reference it. All right, so below this, cool. Do a range 300.
Range 300.
There we go. So that's going to evaluate to an array with 300 elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
An array with 300 elements in it. So, ooh.
Oh, so now I could just do .map.
Ooh, even better than that.
.sample.
If we're trying to, well, actually, yeah, we could. No, I take it back. Map would work for this. I was thinking reduce, because reduce it. This like for thing you're doing there is basically a reduce, but a map would be totally appropriate for this also. Yeah.
I could say for each. I guess I want to say term, but I'll say for each word object or something like that.
Well, it isn't that yet. That's what we're going to turn it into.
I would call it term, right? Or something like that for each term in the array.
Item. Because they're just numbers.
You could say like could you say index for each index or?
Yeah, I would take index. That's appropriate here.
But I could do something like item.
Oh, change the item to index. That's more accurate.
Item to index. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I could say like. I would need a return here, but index.
You actually don't need to use the index at all. Oh, actually, in that case, let's do this. Just change the index and the parameter there. Just change it to an underscore.
This?
Yeah. That's to indicate that like there is a property there, or shit. No, even better than that. Let's just make it empty parentheses.
Empty parentheses. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so then we can just ignore it. and your linter won't get mad about unused variables. No,
Okay,
I mean, as in an empty parentheses for your fat arrow.
Like a
so I
function,
do-
making a function.
Yep.
Other way around.
Oh, I see what you're saying. My bad.
Anonymous function.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. And then we want to turn this into a bunch of new words. So I want you to open up the function, yeah, like that. And then just copy between the braces for your new word. Nope.
Oh.
Copy lines 96 through 100.
But just that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Well, I don't even need the object outside. I just need that.
Well, you still need the object things. You're going to return them.
Well, can't this be an implicit return right here?
No, because you opened up a function body. You could wrap parentheses around that and do it that way.
So like that works?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Because then this is just the implicit return right here.
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha.
And now return, put return in front of range.
Put return in front of range. Wait, do I need a return if it's in?
All the way in front.
Oh wait, you're saying here I need
Yes.
that. Gotcha. I see.
And
So
then delete everything else.
And then delete. Yeah, because I don't need that array. Oh, that's cool.
How cool is that, huh?
That is cool. Okay, so why is this linter weird now?
Because you don't have an ID. So if we want to do that, above your return, let's initialize an ID. Oop.
Oops.
There you go. And then, shit. You're not gonna, don't use the implicit return. I actually have a function body for this.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because, yeah, so I need this function body, which means I need to wrap it in another. And then I need to go down here. Wait. Not the cleanest. Oh gosh, what are you doing? Okay.
Oh, actually, shit. Dude, so much better. Check this shit out. Get rid of all the things you just did. Okay. Now, instead of nothing being passed in there, take the index there.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So like range.
Nope.
Right.
No. You already have it.
Just call it index, and that's what your parameter is. Or
He gets it.
I don't know, whatever you call it.
Yeah, on line 95.
Instead of the anonymous arrow function, you're going to pass in something.
Yep.
Oh, right. For each index. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Now get rid of line 94.
Now get rid of line 94. Bam. And then I could fix this tabulation so I don't look dumb.
And actually, let's do this. Change it from index to ID.
ID.
And also, while you're up there, get rid of those parentheses.
But also, that started from 0.
It's
So
going
plus
to,
1.
It already starts from 0. That's fine.
because the range has already made it
Right.
for you.
Correct.
I
Now,
was just curious if having an ID of 0 is a problem. Is all.
No.
but it's not actually an ID. It's just, all it needs to be is something unique.
Unique number. Gotcha.
Okay, and then on line 94, around ID, get rid of those parentheses. If you only have one parameter, you don't need them.
Yep.
Get rid of the white space in front of ID.
Get rid of the white space in front of ID. Oh, you're not supposed to have
Nope.
white.
That's
Right.
not in front. In back.
That's behind.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Undo.
No, it's undo.
Oh, undo.
Yes.
And then
hit delete.
there we
Oh,
go.
All right, and now on line 97, just ID comma.
ID. Wait, what do you mean? As in
You're gonna
like?
delete one of the IDs. This is like the JavaScript object notation for
There you
like
go.
it has the same
There you go.
value. You can
do
call
that?
it.
Yep.
That's like saying ID equals ID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. There's so many like little tips and tricks that it's like, okay, that's nifty.
See how much sexier that looks?
Yeah. I also feel like it helps me understand like random code that I find online a lot more.
Hmm? Also, since ranges start from 0, make that 299.
Why?
Because it's starting at 0. So 0 through 299 is
Oh, I see what you're saying.
300 elements.
So you have around 300. It doesn't really matter how many words. The only reason why I chose 300 is because max typing speed is like 200 words a minute, 200 something.
So not only is this like better code because it's easier to read, but so many fewer places for like an error to hide.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. So,
Thank you for showing me that.
all right, and we have the ID in there now. Sweet.
Yep.
So, ooh, wait a minute though. Create test words. What's calling create test words?
Create test words is being called from, it's the computed, I think. Test words, so this is where I'm supposed to call it. That's
Okay. So we're just gonna swap that out.
test words, and then like that.
Oh, okay, I see how this works.
Except for something's weird. Oh, am I returning this right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Why is it
Well, take a look at what it says.
not defined? Oh,
This is not create test words.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. So then let's see if it works. I think that works probably. That's my guess. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Are you running your server?
I guess not. It must have shut down on me at some point. No, it says it's running.
That's your backend.
That's your backend.
Oh, you're talking about this server. I thought you meant my backend server. My bad. Right, I stopped it. npm run serve. By the way, when I say npm run serve, is run a command that can be run on different files? Or is it only, am I saying run this file called serve?
So run this command called serve. There's two that are built in. There's npm start and npm test. Those are also the same as npm run start and npm run test. But you can also just make up your own scripts. So you have to put run in front of any of the ones that you
So Vue made up their own called. Now, if I were to do npm start on this, would it work?
Probably. I don't think there is a start command defined.
Depends on what's in the package.
Yeah, go to your package JSON. Take a look.
Okay.
All the way down at the bottom. Nope. That
That
one.
one.
Cool.
So
Those
those
are the
right
three
at the
scripts
top?
that you have right now.
I'm just gonna look for start.
Nope. Up,
Yeah.
up, 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 up.
But if you go to the top, you can see all of the
There you go.
script. So those are all your scripts. Those are all the things you can just run out of the box and view.
npm run build, npm run serve, npm
Yeah.
run.
Correct. And you can make your own up. Those are just like you just typed out vue-cli-service.serve or space serve on your command line.
And where do you find these? Like, how do I find the script that they made? Would that be in my node modules?
No, you can just make them up. You can make one called ls that just runs ls and do npm run ls and it'll run ls for you.
Yeah.
Is it pulling this? Where is it pulling this command from though?
Vue
Like, where
CLI.
did-
You
What?
see all this?
Oh, Vue
You
CLI.
got those built in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Typing in Vue CLI service serve.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would go into Vue CLI, see what's in Vue CLI. And Vue CLI is that's a node module, right? Because I did like an npm install Vue CLI.
Look, it's right there on line 15 is one of your dependencies.
Right. So I could go into my node, in theory, if I wanted to, I could go into my node modules, look at Vue CLI, and see what that's doing.
Okay, go to open up node modules. I'll show you where it is. Go to .bin. Nope. Stop. Go to .bin. Now Vue CLI service. There you go.
Wow. Okay. Trippy.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at your app.
Okay. Let's see if it's working. I think I did the npm run serve, right? Yeah.
Yep.
What was all that stuff?
All right, so.
Huh.
Non-primitives. All right, and they are coming from that thing. So
Yep.
let's examine that.
How can you tell?
But it says we're doing object, which we aren't. So back to your code.
Sorry.
Back to your code.
Oh, back to your code. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. So if I go to game, run up here to.
All right, now I want you to go to where we're making those.
Yep.
Yeah, those things. So show me test words. There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
All right, back over here. Do a clear out your console.
Oh, I just did a refresh.
All right. Well, we don't have any errors.
Cool. Now let's see if it worked. Boom. And then I should be able to go into my game and see those words in my test words. Hooray! 299 test words, and they all cool. Great.
Huzzah!
Thank you guys so much. Oh, that was great.
Thank you. Toby, you got more questions?
I was looking through stuff today. When you are like, how do you know when you're expressing a path, like a file path, and like making it relative and using like the @ sign? Like when to do that and when not to do that? Like, because like it was working in my Sass when I had like a relative like // but then it would like mess up because it wasn't finding the source folder or whatever. Like, can you do that everywhere in Vue, or is it only certain?
So what happens is Webpack will look for every instance in a file path of that @ symbol. It's not a valid file path character, and it just like copy paste replaces that with whatever your source folder is.
And do you have to use a tilde in front of it every time, or
never?
Never.
I just do @.
Oh, well, that's how I got it to work in my Sass, is I put a tilde in front of it, and it's like, okay, cool. But before, it wasn't doing that.
Let me look at mine.
So that, I just saw that randomly.
@/.
Because like, also what I'm doing with my Sass is I'm like, I'm prepending the import in every component. And so what was happening was it wasn't finding the relative path because in the component, the typography was in like \components versus \styles.
Yeah.
And so like there's two different places and the @ wasn't figuring it out where the assets was. I don't know.
@ only gets you to source.
Yeah.
You still have to like crawl through the tree for everything else.
It was because I don't know. I don't know why it was doing that, because once I put the tilde, it was fine. But before I had the @ and it was just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the tilde is another Vue CLI Webpack thing. Let's see.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hey, Duncan.
Like, basically, Yeah, for like I like had my own font face, or I was like importing my own like local font. It was in the assets folder, and just having the @\assets wasn't working. And then once I put the tilde, I was like, "Yep, you're good to go." So I guess knowing when to do that is, I have no idea, but.
Well, some of those need to be the actual like real path you're gonna have. But if they're in the assets folder, that should be fine.
Yeah, and like what I had before, it was working when I only had styles on one page. I had just period \assets, and it was like cool, good. And so maybe the tilde is saying like, hey, Vue, pick this up. This is not like a import, like a component import, but a, I don't know, source input or something.
God, this is like the hardest thing to search for. I think the @ symbol is something weird. Okay, I think it's called a Webpack alias. UCLI Webpack alias.
Or is it in the?
Okay, it's definitely called an alias. I don't even know what the tilde one is.
Yeah, where would I even go to look at that?
UCLI. I can't even find Vue's documentation on this shit.
Yeah.
So like I can't even see what it's supposed to be. But if you send me a repo, I'll take a look.
Okay. I mean, I can show you the problem that I was having.
Yeah.
So.
Here, let me take that from John. What you got?
Like I saw it's fine, so I'm not worried about it. But I was just curious why it was doing that. So here I am. Here, let me move this over.
DS Store Toby.
What is that? I don't know what that is. Whatever.
DS Store is what happens when you open something in your GUI finder instead of from the command line.
Oops.
OSX helps by keeping track of like the XY coordinates of where the icon was in the folder.
Oh, I know what it was. Okay, yeah, it's a JPEG, so I needed to find it in the GUI.
Okay, so
right here, if I delete this, then I get this problem.
Can't resolve. Okay, and then prove to me that file exists.
The file exists?
Yeah.
Boom. So back one, assets, right here.
Okay.
Boom.
Lin, bio, linum, R, OTF. Cool. Back to the code.
4-line type.
Okay.
And
Yeah, okay, so the @ might not work in something that is pure CSS. Things that are SCSS.
so what I had originally was ... because you go, we're in the styles. We go
I'm going to give you a better way to handle this because this isn't really an asset. This is I would put this in your public folder. So let's do a little experiment. Take just that OTF file and throw it into your public folder. Just copy it. And let's see if you can do it with the command line. Prove to me you can.
Oh, I don't want to get out of this. Where am I? Components. Copy source assets. I think it is.
Oh.
Cool. And then copy that over to public.
Public. Just in public.
Just like that, yeah.
Oh, I didn't call it anything.
Correct. Okay, now back over to your code.
If I didn't call it anything, is it going to be there?
No, it just copies the same name it had.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if you try to copy a file into a folder and you don't specify the name, it just keeps the name.
Okay.
Cool. And now just make it / Linux biolinum. Yeah, like that. Let's see if that works.
Ooh, failed to decode font.
Oh, hang on. Let me. Yeah, take a look at that path. Ah, I see why. Go back to your code. For this, you have the extra directory there. We just put it in, yeah, just like that. Cool, refresh. Hey, there we go. And that's the same problem we had before.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah, things like that, that's a better case for the public directory than your assets directory.
So what do you put in assets then?
Things that are going to get like compiled into your Vue app. So like as a hint, if it's not getting referenced in a .vue file anywhere, it probably doesn't go in assets.
Oh, okay. Okay. Excellent.
Awesome. Any other question use twos?
I have like all of the store questions.
All right, I need to take a break a little bit. I got another lesson at 4. But if you want to write those up and throw them in tech questions, I can take a look at them later. Elsewise, we can probably do another one of these tomorrow.
I can figure it out. I was just like, working with the stores. I think the modules things will help a lot. Okay. So, yeah.
Cool. That Develop Denver code is open source now, so it's on the GitHub Develop Denver org. If you want to take a look at how we use modules, that'll give you a starting place at least.
Cool. Excellent.
Awesome. Cheers, homies.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep.
Kyle.
You're very welcome. Cheers.